Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Knack. I am the City Councilor for Ward 1 in the City of Edmonton, which is the west end of the City of Edmonton. And I'm joined today by Todd Janes from the Stony Plain Road Business Association. Todd is the Executive Director of the Business Association, and we've had the chance to work together for about the last 9 months since he took the role. So very excited to talk to Todd today about the work that's happening along Stony Plain Road. Stony Plain Road is going to be going through some pretty significant changes over the coming years with the construction of the Valley Line West LRT. And so we thought this would be a good opportunity to check in, learn a little bit more about the work that they're doing, and really just make sure everyone's aware of how they can stay informed and involved with the great work that's happening on Stony Plain Road. So I'll turn it over to you, Todd, to introduce yourself to everyone, knowing, and I know you've been doing great work across the city, building up communities, not just here on Stony Plain Road, but in the past as well.
Thank you, Councillor Knack. I'm excited for this conversation today. I feel like it's a bit of a coming out for me, and I did introduce you. So as you said, I've been the Executive Director for the Stony Plain Road and Area Business Association for 9 months, almost. It's been an interesting time for us. I think it was time. Diane Kurylik, who had been Executive Director for about 12 years, did significant work in some areas, and it was a time for us to think a little bit differently about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. Certainly, I think it's an exciting time for our area in the West End, and in many ways, Stony Plain Road is an artery between the West End of the city and our suburban communities and downtown and things. I think for us, the West Valley Line is a great opportunity to kind of reposition and reacquaint Edmontonians and other visitors with the eclectic, amazing number of businesses. We represent over 500 businesses in the area, and we go from about 140th Street to 170th, and on both sides of those avenues. It's a pretty dynamic area, but I think a lot of Edmontonians either come there for direct experience with a manufacturer or an automobile place or a store, but we have less foot traffic. And I think as we look at how the new city plan and how cities are transforming in North America, main streets and destinations are going to be more important. And I think the West Valley Line will be great because it's already an area with affordable rents and leases for residential and commercial, and multi-modes of transportation. And I think with a ground level Valley Line, you're going to see a lot more street activity and positive human scale interaction on those streets. You're going to see a lot more places for people to meet. In the short term, 6 feet apart. And in the longer term, I think you're going to see more cafes, more services, and more clustering. And Stony Plain Road is great. It's weirdly centrally located in the western part of the city as we grow. And I think the board and some of our membership is in the process right now of rebranding or branding Stony Plain Road an area. Because we've never really been an area that's like, oh, it's the nighttime entertainment area or it's the boutique shopping area. We're quite eclectic and diverse and a bit quirky in some ways. And I think there's really exciting potentials there. I think if you look at new businesses or businesses that want to expand to a second or third location, Stony Plain Road offers over 100,000 people in about a 10 to 15 block radius to support those businesses. And I think the future is pretty bright.
I appreciate that. And For those who are watching this and have watched some of my other ones, my goal was to try to ask a fairly set list of questions. But as we talk, there's things that come up that just make me want to sort of jump off script. So in particular, I actually do want to take a moment and ask a little bit more about the Valley Line West LRT, because I mean, for those who were around for years and years during the debate, so I was one of them. I've been involved in the Valley Line West discussion since 2007, before the route was even decided. I know when the route was decided in 2009, we were divided in the West End. Just every community, every resident had different views. I know when I was on the Metal Art Community League, our community was split almost equally, a third between the three routes that were being debated. And my view as a community resident who would be, because I live right beside all three routes. If any of them had been chosen, I was within about a block and a half of any of those three. And my view is that once the route was decided in 2009, instead of trying to spend time and effort, revisiting that decision, my focus would be as a community resident and now as a member of city council is to say, let's make that decision the best possible route. Let's make sure if there need to be changes and adjustments, let's focus on there. But I do know that even recently, right, and I think there are still folks who have concerns about that, including I think some of the members of the Stony Plain Road business improvement area. I think there are some businesses who still worry about that, and I think there are some who now are looking at it differently, potentially as an opportunity. And I wouldn't mind just a little more detail from you. So what are you hearing, both from some of the members who maybe have some concerns? What do you think are some of the biggest things that they've raised? And then for those who do see it as an opportunity, what do you think is most exciting to them from the conversations you've been having?
I think that's good. I mean, I have the luxury or the privilege of coming in and saying the decision has been made. And quite honestly, I think that's a little bit reassuring in some ways. The decision is made. And I think first when I started, I noticed that the energy around the Stony Plain Road corridor was somewhat defeated. I think people felt they had gone through a very long and arduous debate around that. I think a lot of people thought it was stupid and it was going to kill businesses. And I think it's time to look at things differently. I think a decision has been made, and let's focus our energies on making our businesses as successful as possible and concentrate on that. I think in some ways for that decision to have been made, it's done. So now what do we do in the meantime? And I look at things like probably many nonprofit directors or people, I look at it in chunks of time. What can we do in 3 years? What can we do in 5 years? And we know that there's been some delays with the West Valley Line, and they're in a procurement stage right now. And hopefully, of the three shortlisted, it will be selected soon. So that means 2021 to 2026, we're going to be in a period of that could be tense and frustrating. And I'm hoping that the LRT branch of the city's learned a lot from the East Valley Line and some things around that. So I think my job and the job of the BIA is to work with businesses to offer communications and marketing and some other strategies so that we're a really good communication bridge between the contractor, the city, and those businesses. So it's really important for us to get as much advanced, up-to-date notice as possible. We're in some discussions right now with ourselves, 124th Street in downtown, which are all three business improvement areas that will be immensely affected by construction. And we still don't know if it's going to be everything in a 5-year construction zone. There's going to be zones where certain things can be done. And I think it's important for us to mitigate that as much as possible. And I know from conversations with City Council and leadership that small and medium-sized businesses are vital to the economy of the city. Over 90% of businesses in Edmonton are considered medium or small, 20 employees or less, and they're the heart of our economy. And when we look at microeconomies or local economies, it's important that the city is seen as an ally as much as possible, not a detriment.
Yeah,
so that means communicating in advance. This area of the street will be closed for this amount of time, or some rerouting. And I think there's some exciting things about that. As a person who commutes to work every day, sometimes in a car, it's important to know what's your best route. And we have 111th Avenue. That's an arterial in many ways. 107th Avenue as well. So Stony Plain Road has an opportunity to become a very different type of corridor for people. And part of our vision is to look at it as a corridor that's filled with people throughout the year that can arrive by LRT, can arrive by bus, can walk, can maybe do a scooter or something like that, or can walk from the 6 neighboring communities from Grosvenor, North Glenora, Kenora, Britannia, Youngstown, all of those. And I think it means a lot for those people in this area around Stony Plain Road. We have a lot of low-income housing. It's a lot of available, affordable housing. And my vision and the vision of our board at the Stony Plain Road Business Association is community development involves all of us. It's not just the business people, it's the agencies, it's the residents, it's community leagues. A phrase that's overused right now, we're all in it together, but it's honestly true. We only thrive if all of us get a hand up.
Absolutely. No, well said. Thank you for that perspective. And I just feel it's such a big topic always on a lot of people's minds. So it's very important to talk about. And I really appreciate the way you're approaching this, because like I said, it's it was heated, those debates, for many years. And I think there are still some people who are very passionate about that decision that was made, and it was made, over a decade ago now. And I think my goal, similar to what you've talked about, is to say, let's work on this together. Let's look at this, whether you loved it or hated the decision, that decision's been made. Now let's work on the future of a spot like Stony Plain Road. And I think there's so much potential. I think the other piece you talked about, being able to bring people in. I think the other thing that I'm really excited about is the fact that I think it will bring people living on Stony Plain Road too, which is something I think we're missing a lot of. We saw a rezoning application by RioCan Developments on the corner of 149th and Stony Plain Road, and that's that large commercial shopping center. And what they want to do is continue to have commercial development and then also build up and have some mixed use buildings where they have commercial uses on the bottom and then residential uses going up. And I think that could really help to advance the liveliness of the street as well. You talked about, I think a lot of people, and it is feedback I generally hear, is that it's a bit more of a destination location now. We go to a specific business or two, but we don't necessarily go there for a Saturday afternoon stroll at the same level as you might see on other main streets today. And I think this could actually help add into that experience. And so I view this as an opportunity, and looking forward to working together. And I think you're very much, you hit the nail on the head around, that's the end result. We've got a number of years of construction, so we've got to be working together very closely, and the communication is going to be critical. So thank you for that. So I have a few other questions related more to COVID and how you're finding that's impacting the work that you're doing as a business association, how that's impacting members, and maybe we'll do both. So sort of any potential challenges that it's been creating, but then also any opportunities that you find that this may be presenting to you as a business association, and even to some of the members if you've had conversations with them about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in the beginning, there was a fair bit of apprehension, or it wasn't as bad as we thought, or people were very concerned. And in March, when the majority of businesses were informed that they should close, I think some people were taken a bit off guard. I think people who own businesses are entrepreneurs, so they're there with an idea. I've been incredibly proud of the businesses in the area. I think something that we probably don't talk about as much as we can, but in the West End or Jasper Place, West Jasper Place, Stony Plain Road, there's an incredible amount of pride in our community. And I think every business I've talked to, they've talked about concerns around their customers and their staff. And to me, that means there's a lot of heart, there's a lot of community ownership of those businesses. And for me, it really, as someone who was fairly new in the role and still getting to know people, I quickly was able to have conversations that were pretty intimate with a lot of businesses around, I don't know how many months I can go. I don't know if I'll be able to reopen. What can we do? And I think those are pretty intimate conversations to have with a stranger. And I think it gave me a real opportunity to see those businesses one-on-one and to understand how difficult it was for them. And I think we quickly became, like other VIEs, but we quickly became a source for information. So for us, it was like getting information, verifying information, and getting it out to our members as quickly as possible. We started to do a weekly COVID-19 update to provide them with information. In the early days, it was like, here are some things that you as a business can do. Talk to your landlord if you don't own the building. If you own it, talk to your bank. Talk to your insurance company to see what kind of coverage you have for business interruption. Because liquidity and cash flow is so very important to everyone. Do we lay off all of our staff? And some businesses took that as an opportunity to completely shut down for a number of months. Some others, that wasn't really an option for them. And some businesses laid off the majority of their servers, but all of a sudden realized that they could hire some of those servers back as delivery drivers and other things around that. Some others have done different things around that. And whether it's providing groceries, so they didn't want to get rid of their local supplier, or doing dine and dash. I think the supermarkets and the drugstores, they're busier than ever. And some of the other stores that were considered essential services became quite busy. And for them, it was like, how do we protect our staff? Because we want them to come and work in as a healthy environment as possible. I think for others, it gave them real opportunities to focus on and enhance the great customer experience they provided. Whether it's Revolution Cycle or Variant Editions, which is a comic book shop in the area, they moved to a lot of online orders. And the majority of businesses in the Stony Plain Road area were pretty bricks and mortar. And I see a number of them adapting really quickly and becoming what I call bricks and clicks. So There's still that physical store that's probably not open, but they're able to do phone orders or internet orders. And a number of them have done curbside pickup, or have the business, the customers actually, they've delivered to their homes in a contactless way. And I'm not just talking about the pizza places, I'm talking about many different other things. And it's about resilience. And some of the conversations I've had with businesses is it's hard, but we're still making a go of it. And, it's a great opportunity to also thank all of the people in our surrounding neighborhoods that have ordered, that have continued to patronize those shops. It's truly, like I said earlier, we're in this together, and it's amazing the number of people who have rediscovered some really gems of businesses in our area.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's excellent. Thank you for that. And just a few more questions. Maybe I'll combine these last two as well. But the city has been starting to work on our relaunch strategy, and also I'd go further and talk about how we're going to reimagine what we do as a city. There's this, I don't like the term new normal. I actually like the term, I've heard a lot of people say, like a better normal. What's that future state, a new reality? We can name it whatever we want. But we've started that work as a city, and we're just at the beginning of it right now. But we've started to take some action as a city to try to support businesses as best we can, recognizing that provincially and federally, they have the opportunity to do more for businesses than we might as a city, because we're dealing with our own financial challenges. But I wanted to get your take on, do you see your area represented in the city's relaunch work that's happening in terms of the support that's been going on? And then also, because we want to have this honest opportunity to express constructive criticism too, is that, are there gaps? Are there areas of improvement that you think we need to be doing better in when it comes to the relaunch work, or just more generally as we go forward?
It's a great question. Politicians are elected if the trains run on time, right? So that LRT, tick, tick, tick. I think the city has been, I've been proud of our leadership at the city during this. I think at a federal level, I think we've responded well. I think they've been open to fixing things that aren't working. 25% wage subsidy, come on, 75%, wow. And some of the other things with the rent relief, these are emergency programs that are okay, but everyone needs to chip in to get those to work. I think at a municipal level, we don't have a great opportunity to bring in revenue. Well, people are speeding a lot more, Councilor Max, so, safety, more yellow bands. But I've been really proud of the local economy team and what they're looking at from the city. They meet pretty regularly with the entire BIA council, and we provide them feedback. Certainly the patio and retail expansion is great. I think there are some different challenges with Stony Plain Road BIA. I think in many ways, I compare us to something like 124th Street, but they're 10 years ahead of us. So there's a lot of work for us to do. And if you notice, there aren't a lot of patios directly on Stony Plain Road. Some of them are in more of the box destinations, whether it's RioCan on Jasper Gates or RioCan on Mayfield Common. And those are a little bit more car-centric and a little bit less able to be stumbled upon. And I think it's a great opportunity because it's up to the business to say, I will sign this declaration and I don't have to pay a fee. I don't have to go through the arduous, sometimes almost always annoying process of development. And I think that's great. It's set a new standard for city administration to respond to businesses in a very proactive way. I think it shows in action that the city understands the importance of small and medium-sized businesses. I think, the new grant program that's being announced, I think is very much needed. I think at the federal level, they're looking at kind of mainly larger issues, rent, wages, emergency loans, things like that. But a lot of small and medium-sized businesses and a lot of the businesses on Stony Plain Road and area, they just need $5,000 or $10,000 to do some renovations to ensure that their staff and customers are safe. PPEs are difficult. A lot of businesses can't open because everything's backordered and things like that. Maybe it's about, I don't know. My experience is usually when you say the city's involved, the price goes up. But maybe it's about the city buying in bulk and then reallocating those PPEs to businesses who need them on a cost recovery basis. The province is trying to do some of that. I think at a provincial level, they've been a little bit more thoughtful or delayed in their response to small and independent businesses. The Alberta Council of BIAs sent a letter to the Minister and the Premier about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, requesting some funds, either through a grant program or something like Service Alberta, that could provide. And we're not talking big amounts of money. We're talking $2,500 to $5,000, because businesses don't necessarily want to hand out. They want to hand out, and they want to work in collaboration with all levels of government around that. And I think the delaying of property tax and BAA levies are something that's generous that the city can do. But business people are smart. They don't want to put their debt over a bit further, and there's a fair bit of concern about what happens in the second wave when we're in the fall and we're operating at some level, and then all of a sudden we get hit again and everyone gets shut down. Our projections in doing surveys and talking to businesses is we'll probably have about around a 10% loss of businesses that won't be able to recover, won't open again. And a lot of that has to do with, I think, the collaboration between property owners and businesses. And commercial real estate is going to change a lot. It'll be interesting to see how many big skyscrapers downtown will have an even higher vacancy. And it's not about looking at it in a negative way about our area versus another. It's the whole city. I think our lower lease rates, the fact that we have a lot of available free parking, the factor that we have a lot of different communities that are serviced through us, provides probably a greater resource to a number of the businesses in our area than some other areas. I do want to put in a plug, though, for BIAs.
Please.
BIAs are business improvement areas, and there's 13 in the city, and they're geographically identified. And the businesses within those areas, I think, do benefit a lot from paying a small levy that goes into marketing and advocacy and communication. And I also think that if you're a business in a business improvement area, you also have a bit of a leg up there too, because you have people fighting for you and advocating for you all the time. We were really concerned about the idea of restaurants and food and beverage places opening with only a 50% capacity. And we knew those margins in a lot of restaurants are very tight and looking at only 50% capacity. Some of our businesses in the area chose to just continue doing takeout and curbside pickup rather than open with everything right away. And I think June 1st, which is yesterday, saw a few more open, and I think others are looking at June 15th. But you know, it's those things again about getting access to PPEs, to training the staff so they're comfortable around the new thing. Many of us will remember the movie E.T., you know, and there was hazmat suits everywhere, and it's like, "Hi, welcome to Moxie's," and you're like, "I can't hear you. Your mask is fogging up." So we text everyone. Going out and spending time with people or people watching is a favorite pastime of Edmontonians, and we have incredible culinary people in our city. Those experiences are amazing. And the city's ability to say, open up a patio, open up another side of the street, and so people feel comfortable walking, I think is really important. I think it's essential that Edmontonians know that the businesses they want to support, it's safe and it's safe for them. And, you know, it's great that the city of Edmonton has done that. I'm waiting for your TikTok video, Councilor Knapp.
No, I don't think that'll happen. I have the TikTok account because I like watching everyone else's creations, but I think that's where my social media limit hits right now. So I can do pretty much anything else, but I do not have the dance moves to.
Could you show us a move like?
No, I can't. No, because I think nobody would want to see that at all ever. So, well, I think really appreciate that answer as well. That you covered off quite a bit in that, and so maybe this is a good time to wrap up. But before
you're going to wrap?
I'm not going to wrap. You could wrap, maybe. I don't know your skills on that. But what you could do.
That'll be for another time, Councilor.
Yeah, exactly. We'll save that. We'll see how these videos all go first, this first batch, and then maybe we'll do more later if everyone enjoys them. I just wanted to, before we wrap up, hear from you, just if you don't mind sharing how people can stay more informed about the work that you're doing as the Stony Plain Road BIA. How people can stay informed about the businesses in the area. I know that we have a community newspaper again, SPAN, that you probably want to share a little bit about, and would hope people are already following. But just share with people across the ward who maybe haven't been to Stony Plain Road in a while, or who do but aren't following as much, how we can all stay informed.
Sure. First of all is our website. It's a bit awkward. It's like me trying to rap right now. As I mentioned earlier, we're in the process of rebranding, so there are a number of things that are in transition right now. Maybe that's a good allegory. We're a little bit eclectic and awkward, but there's a real plurality on Stony Plain Road in the area where it's a bit cliche to say there's something for everyone, but I think one of the words that we're talking a lot about is comfort. And I think there are great multiple points of entry and great opportunities for people to feel comfortable in their own body on Stony Plain Road. And I would welcome people to come out when you feel safe to do that. Certainly you can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. We just did a campaign last week on Instagram where we got people to tag their favorite food establishments. And we're going to be doing one fairly soon around retail, and then another one later in the month where people can win gift certificates or gift cards, and that'll be around service. Because there's nothing sexier than talking about where you like your oil changed or your tires rotated. Also, as you mentioned, STAN, which is the Stony Plain and Road News Network, not like CNN, not like Fox News, True News, and is a collaboration between the Jasper Place Revitalization and the Stony Plain Road BIA and the 4 communities. The paper comes out about 4 times a year, and we'll be moving it to more and more of a digital format. I think we just released the 2nd issue. There's a great article in there by a city councillor. His name rhymes with pack or something.
I think so.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of things happening in our area. We are having one of our parks redeveloped over the summer, and I think it'll be a tremendous gift back to the citizens in our area. It's about reclaiming that to be a more visible, transparent, open park for people. There'll be a great piece of public art going in there. The Jasper Place Transit Center, yay!
Yes!
Reopen. Holy moly! Most of our projects run on time, says Councillor now.
It is true, and the stats actually back that up, but that one definitely did not. So I'm glad to see it done. I know it looks great, and people feel a lot better. I know I've had a lot of positive feedback come in with that project.
Yeah, it's great to see that happen, and it's great to be able to drive east on Stony Plain Road now with 2 lanes. I think reach out to us if you have an idea, if you have a project. We're really open to collaborating. We took advantage of the City of Edmonton Community Pop-Up Gardens, and we're doing a project with Food for Good and any residents in West Jasper Place that would like to grow some food over the summer in St. Anne Park, just on 101st Avenue and about 153 Street, and that will be happening fairly soon. So please reach out, call us, email us. Email is great because at 4 in the morning when I can't sleep, I can respond to you.
Well, thank you so much, and most importantly, come visit Stony Plain Road. I think there are so many great businesses operating along Stony Plain Road, and I'm not going to start listing them all because that means I feel like I have to pick my favorite. But there are a lot that I visit just personally that I really benefit from. And whether it's groceries or transportation or just entertainment, there's so much there already, and I know we're going to see that only grow as the time goes on. So I want to just close by saying thank you, Todd, for your leadership on Stony Plain Road Business Improvement Area. And again, I know Diane, as you referenced earlier, she had done a great job over her 12 years, and really appreciate all her time and effort. And I know you bring in a different perspective on things, and some of them you share the same, some of them are different. And I think it's important that as we start moving into this new world on Stony Plain Road, where we're going to see a fairly substantial transformation, I'm very excited to see how that's going to evolve, and I know that the businesses are in great hands through the work that you've been doing already, and that you're going to continue to do going forward. So, thanks for taking the time to chat with me and to share your message with everyone who is watching the video here. And it's been great to chat, and we will be in touch, and we will continue working together long after this video is done. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you as well.